We're just 1 week into August, and what a week it's been. The spirit of independence soared across the island, and our colors, songs, dance, and speeches extended to the world. And if it's one thing we know how to do is drop foot and have a good time. It's been an exceptionally beautiful season, and I've never been prouder to say, I am Adrian Atkinson, and I am Jamaican. Today we share in another Jamaican staple, a huge part of our history, Jamaica Magazine.
I love waking up every day in this country. This is where I was born and raised. I have such a passion for my country, and for me this is home. In Jamaica, a lot of people, they look at just like beach, sea, sand, but our mountains are something to behold. It's majestic up there, and it's a different type of peace. It's a different type of lifestyle completely. I could mention many different places that are amazing, but the one thing I do love about Jamaica as well is that you can find that relaxation, you can find that chill in your backyard. Apart from it being an incredibly beautiful country, an incredibly beautiful island, we have a wonderful, wonderful culture, wonderful, vibrant, colorful people. There is definitely a realness to Jamaica. There's definitely something that no matter what keeps you in touch with reality here. Why come to Jamaica? It all comes back down to Jamaica as a whole. The food, the music, the culture, the people, the climate. Come out and meet us, come out and experience what Jamaica has to offer.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JI's News for Tuesday, August 9. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says Jamaica has much to be proud of and to celebrate in this 60th year of political independence. Among the achievements listed are a free and fair electoral system, press freedom, the creation of institutions and legislation that protect the rights of citizens, and strong bilateral cooperation. In addition, Mr. Holness says the country is a respected voice on issues of climate change and a reference case for exemplary sustainable fiscal management.
Our political class has demonstrated that it can come up with the policies to address the social issues, that it can build the institutions, but we have just not seemed to have settled the economic policies. However, we are now on our journey to consolidate our economic independence. And as I have said repeatedly, this is a priority for my administration.
The Prime Minister was addressing a joint sitting of the Senate and the House of Representatives on Friday in commemoration of Jamaica's 60th anniversary of independence. He stressed that the most outstanding achievement of our nation in the last decade would be the political consensus around sustainable fiscal management and debt reduction. Jamaica will be extending support in several areas to the Republic of Namibia's tourism industry COVID-19 recovery program. The support is being facilitated under a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) signed for tourism collaboration between the countries. The decision comes as Namibia looks to increase efforts to revitalize the industry, which has suffered a major fallout in occupancy and employment levels because of the pandemic. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett provided details during a meeting with Namibia's Minister of Presidential Affairs, Christine Hobes, last Friday. He says the focus areas will include sustainability, resilience, and destination assurance.
I believe we can make very strong strides together with sustainability and resilience. Yeah. And to that extent, we will work with you to establish the Global Tourism and Resilience Crisis Management Center in Namibia.
Meanwhile, Minister Hobes says the agreement on tourism will strengthen the collaboration between the countries and unlock some of the opportunities being experienced by Jamaica for Namibia.
This agreement is so important for us so that we can look into the possibility of how to streamline the ships that are landing here to also pass through Namibia. Land there.
Ms. Hobes heads a high-level government delegation that's visiting the island. Cabinet has agreed to the creation of a concept document that will lay the foundation for a sexual and reproductive health policy for Jamaica. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says a working document is in place to facilitate the consultation process, which will be led by State Minister Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn in the coming months. According to Minister Tufton, having such a policy is important for good health care, minimizing risks associated with premature illness and infant mortality, and to allow for proper functioning of society.
It's very important that we approach this concept of reproductive health in a holistic way, and that we incentivize the proper development of populations, future populations, by creating the framework and the environment to advance proper and healthy lifestyle.
Minister Tufton was speaking recently during a tour of the Mandeville Regional Hospital, which received certification to become a baby-friendly hospital. The Ministry of National Security is collaborating with the Ministry of Education and Youth to inform children about human trafficking. Director of Children and Family Programs at the Child Protection and Family Services Agency CPFSA, Warren Thompson, says the initiative is necessary as children are among the vulnerable group. He was speaking at a recent JI's think tank.
There's the inclusion of trafficking in persons content in the HFLE curriculum. So that's health and family life education. So there's that aspect of it where we want children to be sensitive or to have an awareness of the issue. And teachers as well.
Mr. Thompson says the CPFSA has an internal committee and a plan of action aimed at doing preventative work against human trafficking in schools across the island. Meanwhile, manager of the Trafficking in Persons Secretariat in the Ministry of National Security, Audrey Budai, says the creation of anti-trafficking in persons clubs in schools has led to guidance counselors being educated on how to spot victims.
What they have done is trained and used the time wisely during the pandemic when you couldn't go out and so on, and trained the guidance counselors.
Ms. Budai says the ministry is now working on re-engaging the anti-trafficking in persons clubs in schools. And finally, 6,000 trees are to be planted across the island by the Agro-Investment Corporation, AIC, in partnership with the Forestry Department. The project is part of the Jamaica 60 celebration. It will get underway on August 31 with an official launch and symbolic tree planting at the Amity Hall Agro Park in St. Catherine. The 6,000 seedlings include fruit, timber and ornamental trees and will be planted at the agri-parks and production zones across the country. The move is in alignment with the government's target to plant 3 million trees in 3 years. As of March 2022, more than 1 million trees have been planted in support of that initiative. And that's it for JI's News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican.
Jamaica comes alive as we celebrate 60 years of independence, our Diamond Jubilee. All year long, join in the celebratory events, showcasing impactful legacy projects, entertainment and exciting commemorative events. Resilient and brave, industrious. Yes, we are Jamaicans. Jamaica 60, reigniting a nation for greatness.
Them here Jamaican chat, them say Jamaican.
As we celebrate our 60th year of freedom and growth, let's look at one of the strides the government has taken to protect and provide for its people. Remember that while we continue to bask in the good vibes, we must not forget it's still the Atlantic hurricane season.
It doesn't always have to be a hurricane. A disaster can strike at any time, natural or man-made, and you may not be thinking about a shelter. But shelters are a critical part of the government's disaster plan to ensure the safety of citizens in the event of a natural or man-made catastrophe. Let's rewind a little. Do you know the nearest shelter in your community?
We use schools as shelters, community centers, churches. All of these are utilized for the purpose of assisting persons that would need accommodation in times of emergencies. And so that is the role of the shelter. In terms of the number of shelters that we have, it could be in the region over 900, about 900 shelters that we have across Jamaica.
We always grab our phones when we're in trouble. And this time we are searching for the nearest emergency shelter on the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management ODPEM website. Select the Shelters tab, choose your parish, then download the listing to see all available shelters in or near your community. You can also browse the interactive map and click on the red dots to identify the shelters. ODPEM also updates its website with the new shelter listings once the annual inspections are completed.
The reason for this is because sometimes some schools can be removed from the listing. And so we would need to, of course, have that information properly and well communicated for persons to be able to know what to do when it is time to go to a shelter. Disaster shelters are activated in two ways. They're done nationally and they're done at the parish level, parish or community specific. For parish or community specific impacts. Now, large-scale hurricanes, for example, when we have lead time. So sometimes when we're tracking these storms and we have lead time 2 or 3 days, then the shelter managers are activated, right, alerted through the parish mechanism. And so they are on standby to open the shelters. So informing the public, that is done through the formal mechanism of press releases that are sent to media houses to let, of course, persons know that shelters are activated and persons should, of course, go to their nearest shelter. The ODPEM also passes information about shelter activation through our various other social media handles, the Facebook and Twitter and all of the others. And of course, where communities are generally impacted all the time, these persons know their shelters, they know their shelter managers, and so, the information is kind of fluid.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosemary Livingston.
Good afternoon, Ms. Livingston. I'm Chevelle.
I'm here to tell you, Chevelle, the things you should take to the shelter and what you should not take. Okay? You can carry stuff like tin sardine, tin mackerel. You can have a little lemonade drinks, oats, and your biscuit, and your lasco, and your wipes, your clothes. Make sure you come with your sanitary napkin.
Do I have to put the clothes in a plastic bag?
Yes, in case of there is rain, you have them in the plastic bags. You come with your medication. And if you have children, you carry the medication. So you plastic them. What you should not take to the shelter: no knife, no cigarettes, no pets, and no bad behavior.
Okay, that is it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
The COVID-19 pandemic shifted emergency shelter operations with an added focus on keeping persons safe from transmissible diseases. Shelter managers are trained to observe COVID-19 protocols, and this includes having an isolation area. The safety of every emergency shelter is paramount, and this means that shelter rules must be followed.
This government, since 2016, have made arrangements that once the shelters are occupied, we will provide food supplies for persons within the shelters. So the rules that are laid out are clear. It is written all over the board. You see it. Shelter rules.
Emergency shelters are also being retrofitted to provide better mobility for disabled persons. Shelter managers across all parishes are trained each year and provided with refresher trainings in an ongoing program. According to the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, IFRC, disaster preparedness isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.
Given our realities, some communities are vulnerable, and so the shelters would definitely not be in such a vulnerable location. And so where those cases exist, there is an arrangement at the municipal corporation level where the vulnerable population is actually transported to these shelters.
Hey you! Yes you! Let's go on a public sector journey together. Check your rear view and let's hit the gas. We all rely on public sector workers, from hospitals and care workers to schools, where our children get the education to fulfill their dreams, and in emergency situations when we're most in need. In turn, public sector workers are paid by us. The current compensation structure in the public sector is complex, inconsistent, and inequitable. That's about to change. Welcome to the new compensation system. The new system is simple and easily understood. It's consistent, enabling equitable application and transparency across the public sector. It will reward high performance, and it's sustainable.
No person, community, or business went untouched during the Emancipation Independence season. Here's how the Ministry of Finance brought their own flair, flavor, and fun to the celebrations.
Welcome to the Ministry of Finance and Public Service.
I will never leave her shores. I will never run away. I will always believe in the black, the green, the gold, I say. Our nation great above the trials. We must face the test of time. 'Cause our people, they are strong and we are going to get along. Though some people say we are poor, but the progress you make, my friend, is not always a rich you are. I said this is the land of my birth.
It was a good celebration because we see where the ministry staff came together. Everybody was enjoying themselves. Everybody was having fun. This is the biggest gathering we ever seen since the year.
We ever in a some fight, so we like that. That little fight there, and it push with independence too, you know. That little fight there. You see that fight there in our people them, it make with Jamaican.
The dancing, the fun, and to see that at least somebody remember the old times instead of all what's going on now. Now it's nice to be alive.
And our people, they are free, no oppression here to see. With the prettiest woman there be, on the hills and the plains and the rivers.
Of course, as a Jamaican, it always pleases my heart to see the spirit of the Jamaican people. You know, as I stood here this afternoon and watched my colleagues participate on the stage and in the audience, it just reaffirmed how fun-loving we are, how we really appreciate the journey, because at the end of the day, it's about people understanding and appreciating the journey.
travel pilot application was created by the Transport Authority for the protection of the commuting public. Please download the travel pilot application on the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Once you download the application, put in your phone number, register the application under your phone number, and then you'll be able to verify the license plate that you're going in. Once you verify the license plate and the information of the vehicle, you will then be able to share that trip of the vehicle that you're in. And if there is difficulty on the trip, you would then will be able to push a panic button and share your location with others as well. Download the application, give us our feedback at customerservice@ta.org.jm. Don't forget, it's free to download, free to use.
Jamaica 60. There's so many ways to honor our culture, and I have the perfect activity. Well, it's more like locations that will do just that. So pack your bags, get some refreshments, don't forget your water, and let's go on a road trip round the corner, up the road, and around the bend in picturesque St. Catherine.
When you hear the names of places like Old Harbour, Spanish Town, Bogwalk, what is the one thing that they all have in common? They are in the parish of St. Catherine, and St. Catherine is my parish. It's my home, and it is also the home of Jamaica's first free black community, Sligoville, the third longest river, Rio Cobre, and some of the oldest bridges. The historic cast iron bridge is 81 feet long and 15 feet wide. It was built in 1801 and is said to be the oldest of its kind in the Western Hemisphere. Today we take a look at some of the things St. Catherine has to offer, so join us on our journey through this historic parish.
All over the beach are the best beach, the best community. Fish them proper, everything that's good. Original fish we have over here, no bomb fish. We large, you hear, extra large. We quick shot over here, you hear?
We're in the farming district of Colbeck, visiting the Colbeck Castle. Though the castle is just in ruins, the walls still stand. So let's take a journey through it. The origins of Colbeck Castle are shrouded in mystery. There is very little reference to it in the early records, but it is believed to have been built at the end of the 17th century when Jamaica was seized by the British. Colbeck Castle is among the oldest plantation houses in Jamaica.
Milpen Poros, one already, two alright.
That may not have been their exact words, but all were aboard this very station waiting to travel either east or west of the island via the Old Harbour train station. Today, this Georgian-style structure, though broken, still stands and the train still traverses its tracks, carrying Jamaica's precious commodity, bauxite. But that one shipment of bauxite moved from Old Harbour and passes through the historically shaped Spanish Town, then onto the famous Aki Commerce area of Linstead. By now you would have probably figured out where we are. We are at the Flat Bridge, and I read that the Flat Bridge is sometimes called the 16-mile walk. Why, you may ask? That's probably because in the 1700s, the 16 plantations surrounding the Bogwalk area had to send 1 in every 50 slaves to work on the river road. Before there was the highway, whenever the Rio Cobre overflowed its banks, motorists had to travel through Sligoville. the same Sligoville that was the first free black community in Jamaica.
Sligoville is a community that is made up of some smaller communities, but Sligoville is the hub. Sligoville is the base where most of the historical activities took place. We are standing on one of the 30 acres of land that were distributed as free villages. That is once a house that is supposed to be using from those days. But what happened is that during slavery, the slave master would live up on the top part, and below it, they have a little cultivation for the slave. It has all the attributes of a house being used at that time, because they have wackland, dab, and things like those. So it's one of the old-time houses.
Our journey today ends here in Riversdale, the home of the Natural Bridge.
This area, we used to play pokinas, keep party, and stuff like that. There's a cave that can lead you to about 20 miles, about 18 miles from here to a next district they call Crawl.
What is pokina?
It's like a card pack, right? But it's a book, like a bingo book, with all the cards on it. Like the queen, the art, but it's a big book where you use stone and mark it, and you pick that card pack. And when you pick that card pack, the number that come up, if you have it, just like bingo.
So bingo is a newer version then of pokina.
Yeah. Well, the Natural Bridge is a great place, and as you can see, it's the 8 wonders, and it's built out of strictly stones. No addition. It is just stone, so it's natural. It's just natural. So I'd like people to explore it, see what it's all about, and they can see it for themselves.
"177 steps later, and we're finally back at the top." So guys, what you've just seen is just a little bit of St. Catherine's history. The parish has a lot more to offer. So gas up, gear up, go on go the road now.
To be free means the condition or right of being able to allow to do, say, or think whatever you want without being controlled or limited. Freedom was once an idea, a longing, one that drew the blood, sweat and tears of our ancestors. Now we live it. While we are free, let us remember to respect others, ourselves, make use of opportunities and live. The team here at the JIS continues to be here with you throughout. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Until next time, have a good one.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.